And welcome to the biggest stream of the day, man. This is going to be a madness. The world is watching. And for that reason, we must get an Avengers show on. We've got myself, LB, Hugh, Daps, and Martin from Mancunian Way. The other guys have not been able to make it for various different reasons. But we still go ahead, man, with us four. The famous quartet. You know what I mean? Is that a thing? You know what I'm saying? Can we do that? Lads, this is a big one, this one, isn't it? You know what I mean? Premier League showdown. Biggest game of the season by a mile. Martin, let me start with you, man. Just sort of summarize to me right now, how are you feeling ahead of the game tomorrow, man, and your confidence levels?
Totally relaxed.
Calma.
You've asked me the night before. Ask me tomorrow as I'm about to go in the Etihad. Might be a totally different story. Or, you know, at 8:15 p.m. But right now, I'm totally relaxed. I'm confident, even with looking like, like he might be out. I'm just confident. I'm confident every time we step on a pitch at the moment. Mm-hmm. And that's been built and earned from the amazing team that we've got and the amazing manager, backroom staff, and everything else. Mm. It is. I'm excited. I'm ready. I'm ready to bounce into the Etihad tomorrow night and just scream the place down for the lads. Mm. I personally don't think Arsenal will realise what will hit them.
That's interesting. Daps, where are you on this, man? Are you as calm as Martin? Are you a little bit more nervous?
I've probably been more of a shit house than Martin has to Arsenal fans. But they've been, you know what it is? They've been absolute shit houses to me this season, right? And they're a fickle bunch, aren't they? I actually started the season proper backing Arsenal, because Tottenham and Chelsea fans giving it to them in the summer, and when Arsenal went and beat Tottenham 4-0, Chelsea 4-0 in the friendly, I said that's what Zinni and Jesus have done. They've put some mentality into this team, and I've proper spoke well about Arsenal, but these Arsenal idiots, you can speak 95% positive about them, 5% negative, right? And they're coming for you, saying, "Oh, you hate us. You're just a hater." And it's like, respectfully, there is nothing that us as Manchester City fans need to be haters about with Arsenal. The fact of the matter is, you have 3 Premier Leagues in your golden era. We have 6, soon to be 7, right? Both of us, respectfully, in the Champions League, neither of us have won it yet. You had 19 years on the bounce and got to 1 semi-final and 1 final. We've been in it for 12 years. We're now going to our 3rd semi-final and a bounce, 4th semi-final. So again, if you want to talk Europe, they've done nothing better than us in Europe. There is nothing about Arsenal that we need to be haters of at all. The fact of the matter is, Arsenal hate us. Arsenal are one of those clubs that are so jealous of Manchester City, and one of those fan bases that we know it, because you know what? For a period this season, they stopped talking about oil. They stopped talking about our fans. They stopped talking about any crap that we don't care about and started saying, "Do you know what? We actually might do something on the pitch." In the last 2 weeks, I'm hearing, "Oh, but you bought this," and it's like you've brought the white flags out already, because you're talking about things that you're already waving the white flag and going back to the same old crap, because you know that we're a monster, and however good you've been, we've just done what we do, and that is, do you know what? This is my 4th show tonight, so I've been proper breaking down what has just clicked, and do you know what? All I just keep going back to, it is Ruben Diaz and John Stones for me, man. I'm saying for the whole season, 100% Jack Grealish, Ake, Haaland, but there's no coincidence that since John Stones and Ruben Diaz have come back into this team, we look so solid defensively that now, and this is where I think it's a problem, because you think about it, there's games now where we don't care about possession no more. Right? At last, we don't care about possession, because all of a sudden, it's like, "Oh, no problem. You can have some possession. Have you seen our 4 centre-backs and Rodri in front of them? You can have that possession, because it really is not going to mean much." And Arsenal can talk about all of this and that. We've just played Bayern Munich and beat them 4-1 over 2 legs, right? That's how good our back 4 is at the moment. And let's be real, Huey, you were there. Were you ever that bothered in that second leg?
After about 15 minutes now. The first 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's spot on. And did you notice in that, by the way, that for the first 15, 20 minutes, that ground was one of the loudest grounds I've ever been to, right? And then Steve's brother-in-law looked at me and goes, "We've weathered the storm now." They'd gone quiet. They started back up again, but it was only behind the goal for the rest of the game. It was just their lot behind the goal. The rest of the ground just went, and I just thought, spot on from you. From that point, I just thought they haven't got anything against Ruben Diaz, Stones tucking in. And this is the thing. I think we're in a mad position, because I don't think any of us thought a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, we would be going into this game going, a draw's good for. I mean, none of us want a draw. We all want the W, and we all think we're going to get the W. But we are actually in a position now where Pep can go to this lot, just go out there and play football, innit? Like, there's no pressure to get the win. A draw's fine. Whereas Arsenal have got to come and throw the kitchen sink at us. So it's just playing into our hands, man. It is. This season's mad. I don't know if this could be one of the maddest seasons we've ever had, you know.
Yeah, I really like that. I really like what you just said, and I think it's so true. LB's alluded to it a few times in the last day or two, and it kind of spins off the back of those comments that you keep talking about. Was it Bernardo and De Bruyne? It's basically just saying we've learned from our mistakes. We've gained a wealth of experience. We realize, and LB summed it up so personal. Was it on the Gunner show or on the show you did? That we don't have to appeal to the masses for 90, 95 minutes twice a week, where we're done, gung ho, attack, and leaving ourselves potentially but expose the back. The team now realizes that with such a stable defense and solid back 4 and Rodri in front, we can trust our defenders to soak up a bit of a storm, or weather a bit of a storm, or to deal with a bit of pressure. We absolutely can. They've proved that so many times this season now. So I like that. It's get your goals, kill the game off, and then let the big boys at the back do the dirty work and make sure nothing goes wrong. That's designed for winning. That's designed for winning. That's not designed to appeal to people. That's a team designed to win, and that's what we need now.
The issue we had at the start of the season was that, and even at home, that we go 1 goal up, not get the second, and then be vulnerable. And if you really, really look at it and again break it down, we were playing with, during that period, we were playing with Cancelo still, who we all know going forward is not that good, right? And then because whether it be Diaz or Stones or Laporte, one of those three was always out. We were playing with often Akanji or Ake as centre backs, and then we were still getting used to how we get that. We weren't fully inverting the right back, and so we were inviting pressure onto us, and we didn't have a defence that could deal with pressure. Whereas now, we can. Firstly, we've got Stones and Rodri, who are kind of snuffing out most pressure before it even gets there. But if it does get there, then John Stones is just taking a step back. Ake's taking a step back. Then you've got 4 at the back that go, no problem, we'll deal with this. Like, it's
and you know what as well, bro, is that now with basically Akanji going to right back and Ake at left back, which is basically how we play. And Rio Ferdinand's alluded to this quite a bit when he's doing the BT Champions League. He's saying Man City now are not scared of defending 1v1. Whereas previously, how many times did we used to see teams get behind Rodri, run at our defence, and we was like, shit, we're in a fucking mud here.
Where's Walker?
Where's Walker?
That's what we'd
Whereas
say.
now, these players, these attacking players are running at our defenders, and you're looking at Ake and you're thinking, you're not going to get past Ake. And 9 times out of 10, you don't get past Ake. So it's given us that foundation. And this is what I said. I was making this point many, many weeks ago. I was going into games. I remember going into that Newcastle game thinking, we'll keep a clean sheet here, because I'm backing this team to keep clean sheets. And, you know, we're playing Arsenal tomorrow. Maybe they'll score a goal, but I don't really see him scoring more than 2 goals. And the way that City are playing at the moment, you could quite easily see City score more than 2. But I just want to quickly show you this for me, because this image here, this tweet, sort of just typifies, in my opinion, why we're in a good situation. Look at this. Erling Haaland cannot wait. He is absolutely buzzing for this game. Erling Haaland. He cannot wait for this game. As he said there, he's ready for it. He wants to show people that he's not just doing it against the minnows in this league, that he can go against the very best teams in this country and tear them apart. And I think that he's going to get maybe a couple of goals tomorrow.
I thought he left a little bit in the tank on Saturday. I'm sat there, I'm thinking, Haaland's not quite as, you know, he wasn't chasing down the defenders like he normally does or goes at them. And I just thought he's leaving a bit in the tank here. He knows what's coming on Wednesday, and he's thinking, I'm coming at these guys on Wednesday night.
I feel like this season, right, people have... Pep, firstly, we have to salute Pep massively for January. And you know what, Lewis, you picked up on it, I think, on a previous show where you said about, because admittedly, I was one of the people saying, Pep, man, what are you doing? Get Ruben off that bench and back in that back 4. But during our worst period, Pep did what Klopp should have done months ago, what a lot of managers should have done months ago, and that was test the resolve of these players. Pep wasn't afraid to say to the players that should maybe be the first name on the team sheet, listen, if you're not willing to pull your finger out, then we are gonna replace some players in the summer. But I'm more than happy to leave you out for the rest of the season and start playing Rico Lewis and start playing these other players that are going to be more of a big deal next season. So there's that he tested the players at the right time, and he got getting rid of Cancelo. Look at Bernardo Silva now, man. Right? I'm sorry, but I said at the time, the reason why he got rid of Cancelo, and probably the reason why Cancelo could play against us home and away, is because Pep didn't care about the small print. Just get that man out of my club and away from Bernardo Silva as quickly as possible, because they're friends, yeah? You don't need that moaner in his ear. Now you look at Bernardo Silva, right? Look at the form. But the other thing is Haaland. You got to remember, we have won the league the last 2 years, right? Haaland sets himself massive objectives. We all know that. Haaland wants to be the best. There is no way that Erling Haaland would be happy joining this Manchester City team and not winning the league this season, right? He'd kick himself. No one else would. Doesn't matter what anyone else says about does he make City better or worse. Him personally would be going, this is not good enough. I'm sorry, yeah? That's him. So you look at him, when you see pictures like that, this man is loving it. You lot, I think he'll probably got it off of your page. He's taken the release clause out, isn't he?
It's gone. It's already gone.
Yeah.
When you look at him and you look at Grealish, is it coincidence that Grealish's performance this season has just gone through the roof? That him and Erling seem to be friends. I think Erling seems to be not just a superstar, but he's influencing the rest of the team.
Grealish, to me, though, that there was a lot of the Cancelo thing in that for me with Grealish. There's no coincidence Cancelo stopped playing and Grealish came alive, because I always thought Cancelo was doing the Grealish job.
Yeah,
every time Grealish turned around, he's got Cancelo over his own.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. You know what was pretty mad, actually? If you look at the weekend game, I know it's against a weak opposition, but how well him and Gomez linked up on that left-hand side. Whereas you wouldn't really have got that with Cancelo. So, yeah,
Cancelo didn't hold width, did he?
No.
Cancelo, Grealish cuts in, you need someone to overlap, and that's maybe why I think Ake and Grealish work, because Ake will make a run inside, whereas Cancelo, you know what, but it's very clear, I always say this, Cancelo, 5 clubs in 5 years, throws his toys out the pram when it's not about him. That is probably it.
Because Nathan Ake thinks about defending first.
Yeah.
Whereas Cancelo, that was the last thing in Cancelo's head. He did, because like you said, LB, how many times in the last year or two have we played at Anfield and all these places and our pace just absolutely destroy us?
Yeah.
Cancelo up against Salah. It was never even a contest every time we played.
Yeah.
Salah just went by him. But like you said, Ake, Kanji, Stones, whoever's there now, you're like, yeah, do it. Run at them, because you ain't getting by him anymore.
No, and they've all improved on the ball. I think all of them have, I mean, obviously John Stones was already good at it anyway, and he's playing further advanced, but I think Akanji, Diaz, and Ake, I think all 3 of them have improved since January on the ball. Now, I don't know whether that's just because
quick. The speed Ake's improved at for me. It's been astonishing.
But you know what I like about Akanji now is he's playing more balls forward as well. Diaz has improved, because that's one thing that Diaz is probably is his weakest part of his game. Is probably he's not the best on the ball, but he's improved just as much as Ake, and that's given us that foundation. Ederson has improved, I believe, with his shot stopping. I can definitely see an improvement there. So what this has done is it's give us the foundation to go into games and go, you know what, we're probably not going to leak 2 goals in this game. Yeah. We can still concede a goal. It's football, shit can happen. But if we score 2 goals now in a match, I'm very confident we'll win the game. Very confident. And I've not been really able to see that or say that, in years gone by, especially in the Champions League. And going into tomorrow, I just feel obviously they're going to have Rob Holding at the back. I just don't see how we don't score a couple of goals tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree with you with that.
As long as your defence doesn't crumble, I think we'll be all right tomorrow.
I mean, there's talk of... There is talk of
at least 2, man. I'd be genuinely disappointed if we don't get at least 2. With the current state of their defense and the way I think they've shipped 7 goals in their last 3 games, something like that.
Yeah.
Their defense is a complete shambles right now. It's not championship winning standard defense right now. Zinchenko looks all over the place. His head is getting rattled after half an hour. Rob Holding, with all due respect, Haaland, I've said this all week, he should be licking his lips. Even Grealish on the far side, he should be licking his lips. Like, unless our attack has a complete off day, I would expect at least 2 goals. And then it just goes back to what you said.
I think you're right, because you look at Gabriel. We all know Gabriel has got a mistake in him, right? I think he's been very good this season, by the way, but I think he has got a mistake in him, right? I think, you know what, Gabriel and Saliba complement each other, a bit like, say, Ruben and John Stones complement each other. I look at Holding and Arsenal, maybe not so much the West Ham game, because that was 3-1, but definitely the Liverpool game and the Liverpool and the West Ham game, not the Southampton game. When Arsenal were 2-0 up, and even more so when they were 2-1 up, that's where you need composure. That's where you need a player that's comfortable on the ball. Sometimes when there's a bit of pressure and you're facing a team that, whether you're facing Anfield or you're facing West Ham's ground, right, with 50,000 fans there, right, if you're 2-0 down and it goes to 2-1, you need a player that is composed on the ball to slow the game down and just calm the noise down, right? Frustrate the crowd. Rob Holding is booting it out and inviting them back on, the pressure back on, or heading it back to the goalkeeper and putting him under pressure. If I'm Pep, I'm saying to I'm saying to our front three, press and press and press, because these lot will make mistakes. They're going into this game. Look, 2 weeks ago, Arsenal fans tried to give this "we're confident" vibe. They're not even doing that now, right? They're not even attempting to be confident, because the fact is, they had their chance to kick us when we were down before the FA Cup, right? We weren't good at that point. They should have played a stronger team and come and got something. They didn't. I said it at the time. You missed a trick, because now we're coming to the Emirates in better form, knowing that although you've got over every hurdle, the one hurdle, 14 out of 15 games we have won. The last time you beat us was in the FA Cup anyway, right? We're coming to the Emirates very confident. We beat them there. Let's park our history with them. They've drawn their last 3 games in a title run, and now they have to go to Manchester City knowing they have to win. Their fans are having a meltdown online. Young players like Saka, they're seeing what is going on online. They're seeing their whole fan base have a meltdown. Now, I can tell you now, Huey, you'll probably agree. In Munich, I don't believe I have ever seen our fan base so confident and so united, right? It's not just on the pitch and off the pitch. We are walking with a swagger that I've never seen before in Europe and at home. And whether people think fans have an impact or not, we do. Even if it's 1% impact, I know we're going into that game very confident, very loud. Bit like the Liverpool game. The Liverpool fans made noise for 2 minutes when they scored. After that, we responded, they shut up, right? And it's going to be the same tomorrow night. There's no way you can look at it and think Arsenal are going to get anything out of this. I really can't see it. I really can't. The only thing I would say is they have to give us something to think about. Maybe Trossard and Martinelli, for me. They're the two that I would say, if they ran at us a bit, gave us something to think about. But like we said, defense just too good.
For me, I think Martinelli's a bit of a key player for them. I'm going to get into some of their maybe strong points and maybe where they can hurt us. But before I do, I've got some super chats, and I want to say massive shout out to the guys at Manscaped for sponsoring today's stream. Guys, make sure you drop a like on the stream if you've not done so already. Get us past 300 likes. We need 1 like to get past 300. There's over 600 people tuned in right now. And big up to the guys at Manscaped.
85% of partners prefer a man who is groomed below the waist, and 96% of partners think bad grooming is a major turn-off. That's where Manscaped have come in to help us all out, including myself, lads. The Lawnmower 4.0 is a trimmer specifically designed with our crown jewels in mind. It has skin-safe technology to reduce those nicks and cuts and gives you the maximum confidence while trimming below the waist. It's also IPX7 waterproof rated, so you can operate in wet or dry conditions. It has a premium 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology and a massive 90-minute battery time, which is supported by its wireless electromagnetic charging function. With the Performance Package 4.0, you'll get the Crop Reviver with witch hazel and powerful odor defense. This keeps your balls protected after a good shave. Crop Preserver with its soothing aloe vera and advanced quick absorbing cream, keeping your balls feeling fresh and hydrated. And the Weed Whacker to trim ear and nose hair. The Performance Package 4.0 has everything you need to keep you the most groomed man in the room. Use our code XTRA20 XTRA20 at checkout and you'll save yourself 20% off your order and receive free international shipping.
Huey, I was going to say, if you've got a spare one of them going, because you must be getting them all over the gaff, right? Send me one. But then I realised where it's been, and I definitely don't want it.
I'll give you a second-hand one if you're desperate.
No, I don't. I've just realised what I was going to ask for. I don't want a second-hand one.
I only use it for my beard anyway.
I bet you do.
Right, let's go through some of these super chat comments then, guys, and member chat comments. We've got Benno coming in with the 2. Says an 8.4 on nerves. 8.4 on nerves now, going to be a wreck by the time I get to the Etihad. That's basically as well what Martin kind of said earlier on as well. Lugo says, Mikel choke artist Arteta. Oh, well, don't speak too soon, bro. The game still has to be played. Professional with a donation says, I was asked who is going to win the league now. I'm not an expert, but I looked at their tactics, players and managers, and I've come to the conclusion that I cannot say who's going to win because I'm not an expert. Okay, or an insightful donation. Mohammed with the 2 says Saka could cause Laporte issues with his place. I'm going to come back to that comment actually, Mohammed, because that's an interesting comment. Professional Unit with the 5 says our midfield should be our biggest concern. When KDB and Gundo aren't producing, we look so lethargic going forward. And Sir Alan with a super chat who says we have to be careful. They've scored in the last few minutes in a lot of games, so obviously stay focused until the end. We've also got a member chat from Cody with 15 months and who says I took half a day off work for this game. Well, hopefully it comes off for you, pal. And an FIFA FPL player with a 3 says start Carson and Martin loves KP and Alvarez and his Costa. My goat. Richard Haaland with a 4 says, would you rather win the Prem or beat United in the FA Cup final? For me, Premier League. I'd take these
all day long.
Yeah, I'd take the Premier League. And Obeyed coming in with the gifted memberships there as well, guys. So I've seen the dubs in the chat. Big up to everyone that got those. Thank you very much to Obeyed for the donation. Super appreciated. Guys, I want to come to this comment here. Mohammed with the super chat says, Saka could cause Laporte issues with his pace. Now, let's be honest, Ake's out of this game, right?
Yeah.
I share the same concerns as Mohammed. It is only a concern. It's only a concern. I'm not saying Saka will roast Laporte, but I do have the concerns here that Mohammed has. Because the reason is I believe Laporte, in my own opinion, can play in a back 4 and he plays in the 2, right? I don't think he's actually very good playing in the 3. That's just my own opinion. And when he gets drifted out wide and he's going to come up against a player like Saka, I do worry. I do worry. Martin, do you worry on this?
Yeah, he gets caught in behind. If you look, he's not the most agile in turning, is he? I mean, let's be honest on Laporte. Mm-hmm. He's great with things in front of him. I've been thinking about this all day. And then I looked at the Emirates. Does he put Bernardo Silva there like he did at the Emirates?
No.
That's my only.
Listen.
No,
do you know what? It's a valid point because we've gone with that we've looked at the team that he played home and away against Dortmund, right? And we thought, he's going to go with that. We know that he rested Rodri, rested Stones, rested Diaz, rested De Bruyne in the cup final. Mahrez played in the cup final, but before that, Mahrez has been rested a lot. And I was just thinking the same. I was thinking, will he go with Laporte? We've just presumed because we've just presumed he's going to go with Laporte. There's Foden. He's played Foden there. He's played Bernardo there, and
Guardiola in it.
It's Guardiola, and do you know what? It's mind games. It's against Arteta. He's going to think Arteta's going to think I'm going to do this. I might do something different. And do you know what? I'd forgot that we actually played Bernardo there at the Emirates until you said that. We did, didn't we?
See, I'm totally with you. I get the Saka danger. To me, my biggest worry is I want him to play Jesus tomorrow and not Trossard.
Yeah, same.
Because I look back, if we will go back to that Brighton game at home at the Etihad, Trossard killed us.
He did.
Even though
there ain't no way. Yeah, there ain't no way he's going to play. He has to play Jesus. He has to play Jesus.
I hope he does because
Trossard
destroyed us at the Etihad. Yeah. He was all over us.
I don't see him. I can't see a world in which Arteta doesn't start Jesus.
There's a lot of Arsenal fans want Jesus out for Trossard. Yeah. They're really begging for it. I don't know why. They're begging for it.
I can't see that happening. I cannot see. I'd be so shocked if that happened. By the way, I don't necessarily disagree with your comments. I'm just saying I'd be very shocked if Arteta dropped the.
I'm looking at the body language though. Do you remember what we said a few weeks back? I think it was you. It was either you, LB, or you. About how emotional Arsenal were. They're a very emotional team. And we went back, we looked at that Bournemouth game when they've got that last minute. And I wasn't going back at the celebration, it was the emotion. And then you've seen the emotion as they're going on. Zinchenko on the bench at Anfield. Last week, even despite they were 3-1 down and they worked their socks off, got back to 3 each, you thought they'd just been relegated at full time. The way they all went to the floor. They just dropped to a man to the floor.
I think the other
They
thing
looked
is
out of it.
the other thing that's really telling, I think, at the moment is bizarrely, because when Arsenal dropped out of the Europa League and we qualified for the next round of the Champions League, the narrative was, Arsenal go to 5 days rest or a week-long rest, whereas we're playing every 3 days, and this is going to be where the downfall is. And I'll be honest, when I watched Arsenal against West Ham, and it was 2-2, and I only watched the last 10 minutes because I don't like watching teams who are in title races because I think if they're in a title race, they're doing well, and I don't want to see them win. It will ruin my mood. So I try and not watch it and just sneakily check up MCFC lads for updates, and if he's putting weight, let them cook, and just check the score. But I watched the last 10 minutes of that game against West Ham, and what shocked me is how tired Arsenal looked. How all season they've compared Odegaard and De Bruyne. They're bringing Odegaard off. I remember Wolves De Bruyne being knackered against Wolves and scoring 4 goals, right? And I'm like, now let's do these comparisons that you wanted to do. There is a world apart from those two players. But it was just how tired they look. And then I look at City, and I look at the fact that in the FA Cup, we're resting 4 of our best players, 4 of our most important players, that we seem to have this energy, whereas Arsenal seem to look tired. And I get it's their first title race, but it don't seem to be working for them. They just look more drained than us. And Saka's, you got to remember, Saka is a great, great player, but against us this season, Saka has not performed. And again,
but that's against, but we don't. I just don't see Bernardo playing left back tomorrow, and with Ake out, this is an option. So what would you do then? What would you do tomorrow if you're Pep Guardiola? Let's go around the panel. Let's start with Hugh. Hugh, you're Pep Guardiola tomorrow. What are you doing with it on the left side of our defense?
I'm not as concerned as maybe some of you are with Laporte. I think if Saka gets him entirely one-on-one and isolates Laporte, I think Saka has the beating of him. But I'm weirdly confident in Jack Grealish's defensive ability. How many times this season have we seen Jack Grealish make these crazy lung-busting defensive runs? I think Pep, if he plays Laporte, will want to utilize Jack Grealish's defensive ability and tell him, right, I'm going to ask you to give slightly more defensive cover than I usually would because Laporte's playing there. My major concern is over the far side, and Daps alluded to Stones having to step back into a 4 when we're out of possession. It's how quick he gets back into that position, because giving Martinelli that bit of extra space is something that frightens me. I think Martinelli is someone that give him that bit of space. If we're too slow getting back into our defensive shape, I think he could punish. So our left-hand side isn't something that overly concerns me. Of course, I'd much rather have Ake there. I'm still picking Laporte. I'm going with Laporte, Diaz, and Akanji, and giving Grealish the unique role of you need to be defensively solid as well. We need you making those defensive runs. So that's kind of the layout I'd go for.
Martin, what would you do?
Just for left back. What do you mean? Because I genuinely think
back 4 if you want, yeah.
I think -1 up with the same team as Munich anyway.
You think so?
So this is the problem. It will probably be Laporte. If we're all honest, it is. I know we're all saying some have mentioned Foden, some have mentioned Bernardo, some have even mentioned Rico. I just think it will be Laporte. But like Hugh makes a great point, Jack's got to do what Jack's been doing now and come back and help Laporte get into that. This is where the two. Is Xhaka out, by the way? Has that been confirmed?
Apparently he's been back in training.
Oh, he's back in training.
But I think that is because I was doing a show with an Arsenal fan earlier, and they managed to squeeze Trossard, Martinelli, and Jesus in by the fact they were saying Xhaka doesn't play, and they play a pivot of Jorginho. I think he was saying they do a pivot of Jorginho and no, in fact, a pivot of Jorginho and Partey, Odegaard, and then they have Saka, Martinelli, Trossard. No Jesus, no Xhaka.
I think they're getting a bit fed up with Jesus because I genuinely think they thought they were getting a clinical motherfucker. And we told them he's a great player.
It was just so Yeah,
He's
you're right.
he's a great player. He works really hard. But if the fucker was clinical, he'd still be wearing blue. He'd still be a Manchester City player. That's just bottom
How good's
line.
he scored more
I've
than
said
us
it
this
today.
season?
Suited everyone, and I think you are spot on. They're getting like that with Jesus, and they're getting like that with Zinchenko. Because all of a sudden, Zinchenko can't defend.
Yeah,
No,
do you
Dick,
know
I
what-
I'm
could have
sorry,
told you
I
that.
did a
I
show
could
with
have told you that 3 months ago if you'd have asked me.
I just did a show with an Arsenal fan,
Come on.
and they are so fickle that they're because we were having a chat, and then I realised, I said, hold on, I need to ask you, are you Arteta out? And he goes, yeah, I am. I go, I was getting that vibe. And I go, do you know what? I go, it's so mad because if I go, and maybe it talks volumes about where your club is and where my club is, but even if you don't win this league, yeah, I get that your expectations have changed, but if you don't win the league, this has not been a bad season for Arsenal, right? In hindsight to where you were last season, where you are, and the young squad and all of that, it's not been a bad season. If you don't win the league, I said, but for City, if we don't win the league, don't win the Champions League, and don't win the FA Cup, this is an awful season, right? Whereas for Arsenal, there's nothing that can happen now. That's for me. I'm looking at Arsenal going, you've had a shocking season, but they're so fickle. Like they're just, I don't know, man. And I feel for him. I do. Well, I don't at all. But
Can I interject and just go back to the Laporte thing really quickly? It's something I really want to get out there because I want to exercise further why I'm not overly concerned about Laporte, because it's not that long ago, this stage of the season, Laporte became an absolute warrior for us.
Yeah.
An absolute warrior for us. Last season's title running, Laporte was one of the reasons that we limped over the line. He was absolutely huge in those small margin moments, literally leading us over the line. So I just have full faith in this guy. Even though he's played not a huge amount of football this season, he still showed excellent professionalism. He was decent against Sheffield United. They were valuable minutes for him if he's going to play on Wednesday.
But it's the position, though, bro. Like last year, yes, he did carry us over the last 2 games, and he was incredible, and I've given massive flowers for that. But he wasn't playing left-sided centre back, getting exposed on the wing. That's the difference for me.
This guy's a top class footballer. He's a top class footballer. And he wouldn't be in our squad if he wasn't able to show some level of versatility. I think maybe is it just a pace thing? What's that?
Didn't he play there at Anfield a few years back against Salah? He did an okay job, or was it at the Etihad? I remember him doing all right against Salah in one game when he went at left back. I can't remember when it was, whether it was last year, not last year, a couple of years.
But then was that not actual left back? See, the difference between playing left back and left-sided centre back, it's different because on a left back position, like it sounds very similar. They're not. They're massively different roles. On a left back position, I can go tight to Saka. I can get tight on him. I can force him that way because I can go touch tight. I can't go touch tight on Saka because then I'm leaving a massive gap to Ruben Diaz and someone can just exploit it. So I have to give space. And that's why what Ake does is so incredible because he'll hold tight. He'll let this winger get the ball and then say, all right, then run at me, lad. And I'm going to fucking get the ball off you. And that's what I said right at the start of this topic of that 9 times out of 10, Ake wins the ball. And that for me is the main difference.
It's because we're calling them still left backs and right backs, and then actually that's not the natural position Pep's doing at the moment. He's not doing that.
No,
it's just he's the left-hand side of the defence.
Can I ask you a question quick? I thought, right. So knowing that Ake, I think is his hamstring, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So knowing it's his hamstring and knowing it only happened a week ago, if you could have Ake back tomorrow, would you? Knowing that it's a hamstring injury and it only happened a week ago.
Yeah. So I was thinking about this. Because we've got Real Madrid.
I would risk it, bro. I really would not risk it. Us taking that risk. And firstly, I don't like risks. I always talk about when we played Liverpool 2019, right? And De Bruyne had been injured. When we played Liverpool at the Etihad on the Thursday, was it a Thursday night or something? A weird night, right? And De Bruyne had just come back from an injury. And I remember my mate, who's an Arsenal fan, saying De Bruyne said he won't. Pep will not rush him back, not only because it's a risk, but secondly, that it sends the whole team and it sends the other team and the rest of the Premier League in January a message that we're reliant on one player. And I think it's the same in this instance. Is if we rush a player back that we know's got a hamstring injury after just a week, it's very risky when we've got
Stones.
We've got a big 4 weeks ahead of us. This is not the only game. Like,
I'd also say on that, Daps, as well, that as you said before, even if we lose this game tomorrow, we can still win the league, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They only need to drop points in one single game, Arsenal. And if we match the results by +1, we win the league. So no, I wouldn't be risking him back. There is one more position though that I think he's up for debate. Well, I think it's up for debate. Before we do, big up to Sir Alan for the super chat. I did put it on screen regarding the Laporte thing. Big up to Mark Prendergast as well about the Haaland Twitter post. Big up to Smell B with the member chat. Big up to VT with the 5 months. Says Arsenal are an unexperienced and emotional team. We are experienced, ice cold killers with a £200 Goldilocks up top. By the way, our sister club beat Madrid. Yeah, that was a madness in the Madrid one. Yeah. The next position that I wanted to debate, because I think there's a debate, although we may all quickly agree, and then that's the end of the show. Right, the right wing position, because you do have options. You've got Bernardo Silva, who played absolutely incredible in that position against Bayern Munich. You got Riyad Mahrez, who scored a hat-trick against Sheffield United. You got Foden, who's back in the mix as well. Martin, where are you on this?
Bernardo. I think he took him off on Saturday for a reason.
So even though Mahrez got a hat-trick, you're not putting him back in?
No, because I don't know, that sounds really harsh, and I'm sorry. Don't all come and attack me. I love Mahrez. I think Mahrez was great on Saturday. Tremendous.
Get the Mahrez disclaimer in, bro.
Yes.
Tell you what, I'd love Martin to be there. I'd love Martin to be the manager of Manchester City. He's able to make these cutthroat decisions, no problem. You ask him a question, he's got an answer. He doesn't need to think.
Thing is, it's like you said earlier, you trap back. Bernardo will trap back. Mahrez ain't tracking back.
Yeah.
Mahrez is waving at him at the halfway line, just going,
yeah.
Bernardo will go.
Yeah. I think the other thing is
Davies didn't have a sniff.
I'm looking at what's it called as well. I'm looking at Zinchenko, and we just spoke on. Look, we love Zinchenko in it. We're starting to love him less and less, but we still have that soft spot for Zinchenko. But we also know that he is a bit of a, he's emotional, right? And he's erratic, and he doesn't have. And this is the key. He doesn't have Fernandinho calming him down at Arsenal. He's got. Whether he plays or not, he's got Xhaka who's actually egging him on to get even more emotional, right? So, and I just think, I'm sorry, but the way De Bruyne has been twisting, sorry, not De Bruyne, the way Bernardo Silva has been twisting players up recently. Last week against Bayern Munich, at the Allianz, I saw him twist Cancelo one way, and he was away. And actually said, "Nah, you know what, you can have another one," and went back to him to twist him again.
Because I didn't know that. It was like a personal battle. It was like two best mates going at it.
It didn't annoy me because it was Cancelo, right?
Yeah,
Cancelo,
I know.
He can hold that. But what I'm saying is that I think he could really draw some. He could make Zinchenko lose his head. The same way I also think Mahrez could as well, because I think either of them could give Zinchenko a horrible, horrible day. Like Zinchenko wasn't good against us when he came on, was he? He hasn't been good against us. So.
I'd go Bernardo in the comments.
Do you know? This is what I think. There's been times this season where I've looked at our bench and gone, do you know what? Our bench isn't really packing much of a punch. But now we're looking at our bench and it's looking likely that we're going to have Mahrez, Alvarez and Foden all sat there chilling, waiting if we need someone to come on. That it's got to that all of a sudden I'm looking back at our defense and thinking our defense is our bench is getting strong again. It's getting there. So I'd go with Bernardo though. I think you're right about the tracking back.
Hugh, what are you saying?
Yeah, I'm going with Bernardo. I'm going with Bernardo purely for how good he was over those two Bayern games. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to tell Mahrez you're not starting after scoring a hat-trick on the weekend, but
he's done that before though.
I know he has. Listen,
he has done that before to Mahrez.
Listen, with this manager, you could see Pep Guardiola start Phil Foden, and no one expects it. But I don't think it will. But I'm just saying that's the nature of Pep. I want Phil Foden. I think Phil Foden could have a big say in this game tomorrow. I think he'd have a big say in this game tomorrow when he comes on as a sub. I think if we go up by a goal or two, and Arsenal decide they need to throw the kitchen sink at us, and the game stretches further. You bring Phil Foden on, all of a sudden he's passing through the lines, he's breaking through the lines, and he's causing them further problems they didn't have to deal with. But on the right wing, yeah, I just see Bernardo causing untold problems for Zinchenko, and then vice versa to what I was saying about Grealish earlier on, like Martin said as well. Bernardo's going to get back. Bernardo's going to get back and do his dirty work on that side as well, which is the one flaw I will say in Mahrez's game. So, at least for starters anyway, I'm starting Bernardo Silva.
I think the experience as well, right, with Bernardo. We know that Bernardo, you know what? Bernardo wants it. He wants to win everything, doesn't he? He's got that bit about him. And do you know what? Are we all in agreement that we think this is going to be Bernardo's last season?
No.
What do you think he's going to stay?
I keep flip-flopping on it. I can't
me and Hugh think he's going to stay. I think he's going to stay. Yeah.
I think he signs a new contract.
I think he stays, bro.
Based on what?
Are they going to build him a solarium?
Based on what?
The Sheepman Sir got him a sunbed in his apartment.
I got that connection.
Oh, well, listen.
This isn't another Didsbury Dave, is it, LB?
For me, Bernardo Silva staying is as good as a new signing, so I'm all for it. But
I go Bernardo right wing as well. I go Bernardo right wing.
Yeah,
I
sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think the rest of the team picks itself, doesn't it? You know, I mean, you have Haaland up top, Grealish left, Gundogan. Yeah, you have KDB, Gundogan. Fuck off. And then you'll have the defense. You know what I mean? So it's just them two positions really that are up for debate. You know, and we'll have to see what he does. Wouldn't surprise me if he done a madness. Wouldn't surprise me if he played Bernardo Silva at left back. Wouldn't surprise me at all. But as much as it concerns me, as much as I'm not looking forward to it, I would go with Laporte left-sided centre back. I would trust him and see what he's about. But I'm telling you now, that could be a real vulnerability of Manchester City. But having said that, Arsenal have to come and try and win the game, man. And if they come at us and open up, for me tomorrow, I'm like, yo, if we do our thing at that end of the pitch, i.e. scoring goals, I don't think we have to worry too much at the other end. We just need to get Haaland and get KDB flowing tomorrow, get a few goals, and then, you know, even if Saka does roast Laporte once or twice, he's still got to put the ball in the back of the net, right?
Yeah.
So I always say it, the first goal. We get that first goal tomorrow at the Etihad, that will be bouncing. You know, bouncing from 6:30 with the coach welcoming and everything else that, you know, all the flags that everyone's got waiting for them. We get that first goal, Arsenal will not know what's hit them. And that is, like I said, we're going back to the emotional young team. Because Zinchenko will know. Jesus will know.
Yeah.
And that, and then I think, you know, we get the second one, then it's good night, Vienna. Yeah. I think we could go on and really do them.
I think they could. I think Jesus and Zinchenko will be nervous about playing at the Etihad. I think they will. I mean, look, we know Zinchenko and Jesus, they're never going to get a bad reception, but at the same time, this isn't October, this isn't November, this isn't December. I've even had a few Arsenal fans say to me, like in messages and whatever, say stuff like, "Oh, you know, I thought you'd say something like, may the best team win." I was like, mate, this is a title race. Do you want to cuddle or something? Like, I do want the best team to win, but I'm being very clear that we are the best team. So I'm not going to wish. It's weird. Like, and the same with Zinchenko and Jesus tomorrow. Yeah, I'm sure, you know, at the end of the game, once we beat them, if they come over to our fans, like, yeah, we will. Like, Sane got it the other day, didn't he? Cancelo didn't, but Sane got a cheer. But
I think
it's going to be a bit different tomorrow. The Etihad at the moment, the Rock. The Etihad's different.
I think Jesus will get a nice reception. I think I'm not sure on Zinky because he's been a complete and utter arsehole at the minute.
Yeah.
He's boiled Gunner and everything else, kissing her the badge and everything else is going off at hours. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Stop.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, this time tomorrow night we'll know. And I tell you what,
I'm nervous now. Cheers, LB.
You know, quickly, just before we wrap up, if City win the game tomorrow, is it curtains?
Yeah, they ain't winning because Arsenal ain't winning at St James's Park as well. By the way, I still look at some of our away games and think they're not easy games. But I also think Arsenal. Look, the fact is, Arsenal are going to drop points at St James's Park. There's not a chance in hell they're going up there and getting 3 points. And if they do lose to us tomorrow, then I think they're going to drop points elsewhere. To be honest with you, I think Brighton could go now. Brighton are out the FA Cup. That makes, and I know we have to play Brighton, but like I said, we've got some hard away games. But I don't think Arsenal, if Arsenal lose tomorrow, they go and win all their other games at all. So
the only reason I'm confident is because I've looked at where our games are getting moved. Brighton's been moved to our second to last game of the whole season.
It could be done by then.
But yeah, Brighton may be on a beach and out to play for. Excuse the pun there, but they may literally be sat there going, "No, you're all right." Brentford. They have nothing to play for. Hit the last game of the season, and if City have to win,
place to bet.
If City have to win at Brighton and Brentford to win the title, City will win.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Everton's the only one I'm a bit because of where it is.
Well, that's why these next 3 fixtures after tomorrow are so good for us because we play
Fulham.
we play Fulham, West Ham, and Leeds, and they play Chelsea, Brighton, and Newcastle. So the league might be done by the time we get to the hard fixtures for City.
Be beautiful.
So
it better be because I'm on holiday the last game of the season. I'm flying out.
What a sick planning that is from you, mate.
I didn't know. You know what makes it worse, LB? I am on the plane while the game is on.
That is horrendous.
You couldn't have planned that.
Wi-Fi will not know the score till we land.
That is shocking planning.
Better not go to the last game of the season.
What a disgrace. Buzzing, lads. Yeah, as I say, not long to go now. That's pretty much it. Insane, man. I'm buzzing for it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm confident we're going to get the W. Daps, what you saying? Never a foul. What's happening?
Never a foul. Go and check it out. It's got a preview myself. Hamza, Troops.
You've gone robot mode, mate.
I'm peeing the meter.
What's going on here, lad? I think he's just been like, all right, I can't be asked for this. Seen a bit, boys. Martin, what's going on? What's going on with you?
Did our preview show last night. There will be a post-match straight after tomorrow. And then we're on to our Thursday show where we start the countdown of Fulham.
Nice. Right, Daps, are you back in normal voice?
Yeah, I'll be back in normal mode. I just did a Haaland thing real quick.
So that was some exit.
To be in Haaland. Never a foul. Check out Never a Foul content every day. And after this show, when this show finishes, head over to Big Six official channel for Big Six Extra. Need some blues in there because it's going to be full of Arsenal. So head over there. Yeah. And love for having me on, man.
Yeah,
and
easy.
Huey, we need to Huey. I still can't believe I didn't see you in Munich, man.
I saw you, man. You look like you're having a good time.
I was having a great time. I don't know what I would have been doing, but I was definitely having a good time.
Oh, keep that off stream.
Have you booked Madrid yet, by the way?
You what?
Say again?
Have you booked Madrid yet?
I'm not going Madrid, man. I'm going to the home game. Cash is too tight for all of it.
It is spinning. Hugh, you got the you coming over tomorrow. You got the match day vlog coming out.
Yeah, man. I'm flying to Manchester tomorrow afternoon. I'll have a vlog up for you guys, hopefully an hour or two after the match, maybe, depending on how fast techie boy Jordy Porty can edit. But yeah, that's the big content for me tomorrow.
Buzzing. Right, people. We'll catch you tomorrow, man, for some build up to the game. Other than that, hope you've enjoyed this stream, guys. Make sure you drop a like on it. Subscribe to the channel. Congratulations to Vincent Kompany. His team has won the title in a massive win against Blackburn. So that's absolutely huge. And we'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.
85% of partners prefer a man who is groomed below the waist, and 96% of partners think bad grooming is a major turn-off. That's where Manscaped have come in to help us all out, including myself, lads. The Lawnmower 4.0 is a trimmer specifically designed with our crown jewels in mind. It has skin-safe technology to reduce those nicks and cuts and gives you the maximum confidence while trimming below the waist. It's also IPX7 waterproof rated, so you can operate in wet or dry conditions. It has a premium 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology and a massive 90-minute battery time, which is supported by its wireless electromagnetic charging function. With the Performance Package 4.0, you'll get the Crop Reviver with witch hazel and powerful odor defense. This keeps your balls protected after a good shave. Crop Preserver with its soothing aloe vera and advanced quick absorbing cream, keeping your balls feeling fresh and hydrated. And the Weed Whacker to trim ear and nose hair. The Performance Package 4.0 has everything you need to keep you the most groomed man in the room. Use our code XTRA20 XTRA20 at checkout and you'll save yourself 20% off your order and receive free international shipping.